Okay, in this video, we're going to look at another set of examples of trig identities. This one's going to work with finding common denominators and continuing to clean up identities. So let's just dive into this. So this one looks a little bit crazy because you got two fractions on the left and just one identity on the right. So we've got a lot of cleanup to do. But notice these are fractions being subtracted. So anytime you have fractions being added or subtracted, you have to have a common denominator. So in this case, my common denominator would be the product of these two. So I'm going to multiply them, sine of A times the cosine of A. But in order to do that, I have to do a little work up here. I have to multiply this fraction. It doesn't have the cosine down here, so I have to multiply this one by cosine A. This one only has cosine down here, so I have to multiply it by the sine of A to get those common denominators. So when I multiply them, now I'm going to have the secant of A times the cosine of A minus the sine squared of A. All right, that doesn't look like it's helpful, but it is, because now what is secant times cosine? Hopefully you recognize that these are reciprocals of one another, so that they will then just become a 1 minus the sine squared A over, just bringing everything straight down. Now be careful, you cannot cancel a sine with this sine squared because of this minus sign right here. Okay, I see a lot of students trying to do that. However, what can we do? Well, we hopefully recognize that this combination, 1 minus sine squared, is equivalent to cosine squared A from our Pythagoreans. Now, if I just bring down my denominator, now I can cancel one of those cosines out because it's just multiplication. There's no adding or subtraction happening in the numerator. So what's left? Now I have cosine of A over sine of A, which is equal to cotangent of A, and that was my ultimate goal. We did it. But remember, the first step here was getting a common denominator. Let's try the next one. Next one says tangent of A plus cotangent of A times cosine of A times secant of A equals cosecant of A secant of A. Okay, on number 2, maybe you need to pause the video, write it down. But let's look at this. We got a lot going on the left side, so let's see if we can simplify some of this out. Hopefully, you notice that this connection is happening here. Cosine times secant is really just equivalent to 1 because they're reciprocals of one another. So this side of the equation is going to look a little easier because it's going to be the tangent of A plus the cotangent of A. Still not what I want, but we're closer and it's a little more simplified. So this is another strategy you might use, is to clean up each half of the plus sign before deciding your next step, or it might be finding your least common denominator between the two. So keep those in mind. So now I would look at this and go, okay, I can't add them the way they are, but I can rewrite tangent as the sine of A over the cosine of A, and cotangent is the cosine of A over the sine of A. Well, still not exactly what I want, but I now can get me a common denominator and add them. So my common denominator would be the product of cosine A times the sine of A. However, to do that, I'm going to have to multiply this piece. This only has cosine in the bottom, so I need to multiply it by sine to get the right denominator. This piece of the plus, on this side of the plus sign, I have to multiply it by cosine to get the right denominator. So now, when I multiply, I'm going to end up with the sine squared of A plus the cosine squared of A. All right. Well, this is a trig identity. I hope you remember this. This is a trig identity that's just 1. Okay, but remember our goal. We're trying to get cosecant of A times secant of A. So we're not there yet. However, I can split up this guy. So sometimes splitting up a fraction is helpful because look what happens. I can rewrite it like this. 1 over cosine A times 1 over sine A. Because then I can do some replacements, like this is the secant of A, and this is the cosecant of A. So we're almost there, but we just rearrange it because we can do that with multiplication. 4 times 5 is the same as 5 times 4, so we can just rearrange them. Cosecant of A times the secant of A, and we're done. We finished it. That's it for that one. Okay, for our last example, we're going to look at this one, adding two fractions with differing denominators, another one, kind of what we just did, but this is a little more complex. So pause the video, write it down if you need to, and then we'll pick up from there. So we know when we add fractions, we have to have a common denominator, and sometimes the easiest thing to do is to multiply the two denominators we have. When I do that, I have 1 minus cosine times 1 plus cosine x. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to do some cleaning up, right? This first fraction, I'm going to have to multiply it by 1 plus cosine to get the right denominator. And the second fraction, I'm going to have to multiply it by 1 minus the cosine x to get the right denominator. So it's going to be plus 1 minus the cosine x. So now if I clean this up, I'm going to have 1 plus 1 is 2. And notice cosine minus cosine will go away. Now on the bottom, if I FOIL this out, I end up with 1 minus the cosine squared of x. Okay, let's keep in mind, where's our goal? Cosecant squared of x. Now, here's an identity. This is a trig identity right here. We know that 1 minus cosine squared is the same as sine squared of x. And we know sometimes we can split up fractions to make them easier to reduce. So we can 1 times the sine squared of x. Again, where am I heading? I want 2 cosecant of squared of x. So now I should recognize that this is cosecant squared of x, and I've accomplished my goal. All right, so it comes down to finding common denominators and showing your work and taking the space and the time to show all those steps and not try to do it all in your head. All right, good luck. We'll see you in class.